I've improvised with him, and Woody Harrelson was in the audience. My life has been strange. I invited him via letter to. I ran the San Francisco Improv Festival, and at that point, I was living in San Francisco. We had just moved there, and I was like, Robin lives here, and everybody in my ensemble, which was called We Be Negroes, OUI French, we be Negroes, yes, be Negroes. Uh, I said, I'm going to send him a letter. I found his P.O. box, and my friend Christian Leslie, who was in our ensemble, just went, "Oh, that's so cute, Shaun. You send your little letter. You do that." And I went, "Okay." So I sent a letter. I'm a massive fan. I was a massive fan and still am massive fan of Robin. And I sent a letter. I said, "How would you like to perform with a bunch of Black people and one token white guy?" And I wrote something that Jonathan Winters used to say to Robin, which is, "May your life be strong. May your comedy be strong and your life complete." And wrote that to Robin. And the opening of our show, we did sketch and improv. During the sketch show, I did an improvised piece called Shamika Mazagunda Jackson, poet and revolutionary. And I would improvise a poem where somebody would improvise dance behind me. And I walked out and I come out in US militant stance. And I would always point to the men. I'm like, gravy sucking, don't change your underwear on a regular basis, men. And I would point to a guy in the audience, and then I would mess with the guy in the audience. Well, I ended up pointing to the back because I had already, the people before me in my cast had messed with the people in front. So I'm like, I'm going to point in the back. And Bats, Bay Area Theater Sports, pulled up the lights, and I pointed to the back, and Robin was sitting there. I lost my mind. I wasn't going to rag on Robin Williams, and I pointed right back to the same person. And when I realized he was in the audience and responded to my letter, I went backstage. I laid on a dirty theater carpet and screamed in it, "He's here. Robin is here." And I looked up to Christian. I said, "I told you, letters work." And uh, at the end of our sketch part, our thing with We Be Negroes was we would go, anyone can improvise with us, because that's our theory. Anyone can improvise. I said, anyone can come up and improvise in this set. And I looked at, can I swear on this podcast
Yeah,
or
you
should
can
I
say
not?
everything.
Okay, good. So I literally said, anyone can get up and perform. And I looked straight at Robin Williams. I said, including Oscar winning motherfuckers. And Robin went, ha! Literally like that. And he popped up like a jumping jack and ran behind stage. I've never had so many people come on stage to improvise with us because Robin was there. And Robin, now I'm out of my mind because I'm a personality. I'm running around. I'm running around the theater going, turn on the camera, do this, turn on the lights. And I'm running through. And the guy who wrote the production, the late Henry Moss, it had just opened in San Francisco, was in the audience, sitting next to Woody Harrelson, because Woody Harrelson was in the late Henry Moss. And I didn't even notice it was Woody Harrelson. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Robin is here. I'm running around. And I stopped in the middle of the aisle, a 300-seat theater, and said, why the hell am I out here? I'm the one who wrote the letter. So I run down the stairs. I go behind the curtains. There's a circle of human beings. Literally, it was like a ring of fire, a ring of improv fire, with Robin in the middle of the fire and my husband Hans. Hans was the only one who didn't even care. And keep in mind, my whole puberty revolved around Robin Williams. So my husband and Robin Williams are just talking casually like they've known each other for decades. And I look in my mind, because I'm that person, I just went, wow, that would be a great threesome.
Bloody hell. That's brilliant.
And I just went, whoa, 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 stop it. Whoosh, get out of there. And I cut myself through the ring of improv fire of people too afraid to talk to Robin. And I had everything I wanted to say to this man at that point in time. He was just in, he did the 90, he was doing the 90-minute photo. So his hair was cropped blonde and he had shaved off most of his chest hair. But his arms were still, he had like rug hair on his arms. And I had everything I wanted to say to this man. I'm like, you got me through puberty, the world according to Garp, Popeye, Goodwill Hunting, which he had just won the Oscar for. I'm like, Mork and Mindy I lived on. I had I said, you were the one who I wanted to do comedy with. It make me find Second City in Chicago. I wanted to do this. He knew my Uncle Brad because my Uncle Brad was also on the Richard Pryor show with Robin. I come from old ass comedy lineage, and I'm like, I had everything I wanted to say. I walked through the ring of fire. I tapped him on the shoulder. He was a short man. I'm 5'9.5". He's roughly about five. He was 5'7", and I looked at him, and I only thing that could come out of my face was, "Hi, my name is Shaun Landry."
Mm.
And the man started laughing. He grabbed me and he kissed me, then hugged me for a very long time. And this is him right here. This is my face doing this. I just, it was the most, and then we improvised and it was all right. It wasn't the best improv in the universe. A million people were running in and out. Robin basically just pretty much was Robin. He literally yanked me on stage out of the back line because there were so many people on stage and it's a jam. He pulls me, he grabs my hand, he pulls me out, he plops me center stage, he goes down stage right, and he literally says, "Hi, my name is Don and I sell guns." Now, keep in mind, Hans and I had been doing this sketch called Don's Guns. So he must have found it somewhere online because I put up so much stuff of Weeby Negroes back in the day when YouTube started. So he must have seen it. And I stood there. I'm like, we're not improvising, we're doing an old sketch. And I let him go off, and I'm displaying guns like Carol Merrill from The Price is Right here in the States. It's a contestant game show, and I'm displaying guns like Carol Merrill, like that. And he started naming guns. It's like, we got handguns. Pick up a handgun, you know. And I started getting laughs, and he realized what I was doing, so he made the guns bigger, and we got cannons. Walked off the side, pulled out a cannon, shoveled the, mime pretend lighting it, did this. And at the end of it all, he finally wore himself out talking, unlike me right now. And I said, I said to him, and he said to me, he goes, "What do you think, Carol?" And he knew I was Carol Merrill. And I looked at him, I looked at the audience and said only 3 lines that entire scene. "I like guns." And then someone swept at it, and he ran and he was rubbing his shoulders next to me. He goes, "That was a great scene. That was a great scene." I'm like, "Yeah, that was great, Robin. Thanks." And at the end of it all, I realized Woody Harrelson was there. And someone was, yeah, well, Woody came with Robin and they're all there. And someone was like, "Hey, Woody, you want to come and take a, picture?" Because at that point I realized no one at Bay Area Theater Sports had turned on the camera. So
Oh,
we, so I was like, does so but Ronnie Ray, who was in our company, had a disposable camera. And he goes, "Hey, Woody, come up." I'm like, "Woody who?" And Woody Harrelson comes bouncing up on stage. I'm like, "Hey, Woody, why didn't you get on stage?" He goes, "I don't improvise." He goes, I'm afraid of that. And I'm like, dude, there's nothing to be afraid of. So he gets on stage, and there is a picture on my Facebook wall with all of the cast members of We Be Negroes, with Robin Williams in the middle and Woody Harrelson on the side hugging Christian Leslie. That's my Robin. And then he was in rehab, or he was on the wagon at that point. We had closed down bats. We had to go down the back stairs. So we're all going down the back stairs. And Woody Harrelson says, and I do quote, in a very Woody Harrelson natural born killer kind of way, he went, wonder what would happen if someone died in this hallway. And it's echoing through. And me and Robin, at the same time, like we're twins, looked up at Woody Harrelson and said, "Shut the fuck up, Woody." Yeah, me and Robin just looked at each other and started laughing. Then we go down the stairs. We all went to the bar. Hans was trying to convince Robin to go to the bar, and I'm like, he was like, "Nope, can't do it. I'm on the wagon." And Woody Harrelson said, "I can go to the bar." So all the way be Negroes and Woody Harrelson, we all headed to the bar, and he started drinking us someone ordered a tequila shot. So, and I don't drink tequila, and only one person in our company did, but he thought we were tequila drinkers. So he just started ordering rounds and rounds of tequila. And I wasn't drinking it. I decided I think I'm just gonna stay with, so it was like rounds of tequila and a glass of wine. And I'm sitting next to Woody. He starts talking. His father, who just passed away, actually was arrested and put in jail for life for murder. If you want to Google that fun fact, Woody Harrelson's father was a inmate who he was a gangster. He kind of killed people.
Oh,
And yeah, Google it. It's true. And he started talking because he knew I did drama therapy in prisons. I started giving Woody contacts to Geese Theater Company, which is actually out of London, and Bergman, who is originally from Golders Green in England. And yeah, gave him Bergman's number. We went around the table. We started talking about theater. He got really drunk. We poured him into a cab. Actually, before that, the check came because most people were already leaving, and the check came. And of course, it came to me and Hans because we looked the most responsible eye everyone at the table, including Woody. They give us a check, and it was $1,200 at that point, $1,200. And I'm looking at this bill and the money that was left on the table of broke actors, like crumpled dollar bills. And I'm looking at Hans going, well, we're going to be using the Amex card for the next year. And Woody heard that and he goes, give me that. he grabs a check and he looks at it. He goes, nah, I got socks that cost more than this. And he pulls out the infamous, never to be seen but by rich people, American Express Black Card. This Black Card has roughly about $2-3 million on it in credit. And it's infamous. It doesn't even have his name on it. It's just a little Amex thing with I'm like, you have a Black Card. And it's like having an Oscar. I just went, may I hold your Black Card? I'm just like, and he paid it off. Then we poured him into a cab, and it got into the San Francisco Chronicle. So for all purposes, everyone was like, it was Hollywood in San Francisco. Robin Williams is there, Woody Harrelson is there. It's just like, this big star-studded thing. And the irony of it all was I asked the crew of Bats if they wanted to come and jam with us that night. All of them turned us down. No, we're really busy, darling. That kind of vibe. And then when Robin came, because they've been trying to get Williams at Bats for a while at that point, that none of them showed up, and Robin was there. And because sometimes actors can be actors. They weren't happy that we had been in town for less than a year and were able to get Robin Williams in their theater. Um, and, things that are joyous and wonderful sometimes has unjoyous consequences
Oh,
because humans can be humans as we do, jealousy and weirdness and the whole 9 yards. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
whoa, that is amazing. And I think, honestly, I'd have to say, normally I'll do a
Ask, what do you do? How long have you been doing it? Kind of questions.
no, no, no. I was going to say normally with the podcast, I'll probably then start the intro and all that. But this is such a great story that I want people to sort of listen into it. It's a great little thing, and I
Yeah,
think
it's been told on. It's been told on a couple of other podcasts I've done, but it never gets old.